Here now is Matt Austin and Ginger Gadsden with Florida's Fourth Estate.
Well, Ginger and I are giggly as we begin this episode. This is our Valentine's Day edition of Florida's Fourth Estate, and it is going to be an interesting one. We're going to take you into our memory banks and tell you about our worst dates ever. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. I would like to say that love is in the air for this episode, but it's really not.
No. Maybe after the break when we talk to the person who's good at organizing dates. But this first segment is just all about the bad things that have happened to us in the past, right, Gigi?
And it turns out a lot of bad things have happened to us collectively, but I'll start. We were going to talk about our worst dates. I have more dating experience than you, Matt. You happened to meet the love of your life very early on. Lucky you.
I did, yes.
I was not
16. I met the love of my life.
It's crazy. That's a great story. I love that story. But so that means you didn't have to, deal with a whole lot of bad dating. But you're going to have a story coming. I love your story so much.
Oh, I've got a doozy for you.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so in my story, I keep all of my clothes on. Just to let you know.
That is not the case with my story. Just a little tease for you there. Clothes are off.
Okay, so this happened to me. Both my terrible dating stories happened in Dallas. So this one, I was out on a story, and that's where you would meet people. You'd go out and you do interviews, and you just meet people, and they seem nice, and they know your industry, and blah, blah, blah. So this one guy, he meets me on this story. He seems really nice, and he says, hey, you want to go out? And I was like, oh, yeah, that'll be nice. And I never let anyone know where I live until I know them. So we agree to go to a movie. We meet at Grapevine Mall. Just outside of Dallas. We're going to go see a movie. We're going to eat.
You
dinner
meet,
at
he doesn't pick
Rainforest
you up.
Cafe. He doesn't pick me up. No, because
Okay.
you don't let people know where you live. You just don't do that.
Gotcha.
He meets me at Rainforest Cafe, Grapevine Mall. And the whole night during dinner, he's like, okay, don't fall asleep during during the movie. I know you say you're tired because you've worked mornings. And which I was, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I just took a nap. It's good. It's all good. And he said it like, I mean, he just kept saying it throughout dinner, and it was
He said it
so
more than one
weird.
time.
Several times. He's like, okay, make sure you can stay awake and blah, blah, blah. Don't eat too many carbs. You're going to fall asleep during the movie. Just whatever. So we go, we're in the theater. It's dark, of course. Sit down. And within the first 10 minutes, and this includes, the opening credits or whatever, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, I look over. He is knocked out. and maybe it's the company. Maybe it was me.
Well, it's the movie. The movie is...
He was just, mouth gapped basically, and just stretched out in the chair. I was like, what am I seeing? He was sleeping so hard, I was able to step over him, get out of my seat, step over him, go to my car, get in my car, drive myself home. As my garage door is going up, my phone rings. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm home. I hope you have a great night.
So
like
15
that.
minutes into this movie, he falls asleep, and you grab your purse, and you just slink out of the movie theater.
I don't even have to slink. I walk like a normal person. I step right over him, and I am gonzo. It's like, bye, Felicia.
I will say, like, you don't want to...
rude.
Nobody looks good while they're sleeping. People have taken pictures of me while I'm sleeping. I don't want like a first date person to see me while I'm sleeping, because you're not ready for it. There's no good sleeping face.
What I've learned now as an older adult is that he was projecting. He was tired. He knew he was going to fall asleep. So he wanted me to be the person who was alert. It wasn't like I was driving him home. We drove separately.
Yeah.
So it was just sad.
I will say, when I was on a morning shift, there wasn't a place I was afraid to fall asleep. I fell asleep at a stoplight one time. I fell asleep in every single waiting room. And every day I would go to pick my daughters up from school, and in the car line, this is how I'd wake up. Beep. Oh, well, where am I?
You're in car line.
Oh yeah, I'm in car line. I better. Somebody was waking me up.
Just to be clear, I was the one working the morning schedule and was wide awake.
Not him.
He was not. People
Those are
held
some
him down.
doozies.
People
I
held
don't know
him
if I
down.
can keep
know.
up with these, Gigi.
Yeah. Oh, you can, sir. You can.
So the
Again,
reason we
I was
know
wearing
these
clothes for all my dates.
the reason we know these stories about each other is because we're in the green room doing our makeup every day for the last 8 years, and so we know each other's best stories, and so that's how we came up with this episode. So many years ago, I was a college student, and I was dating this really hot chick. Spoiler alert, she's my wife now. And I had this idea.
Still hot.
I had this idea that I was going to take her to the spa for a spa day. Okay, again, I'm in college. I'm maybe 19, and I drained my bank account to take her to this really nice spa, it's PGA National Resort down South Florida.
Fancy.
So we get there, and she's excited. I'm excited, and they hand us the menu. Okay. And so there's a menu of that. I'm like, I thought I was just getting a massage. There's a whole menu here, and it's long. And so I spot this thing. It says 164 jet massage.
Ooh.
I'm like, all right, that
Nice.
sounds kind of nice, like a fancy hot tub, So I'm like, that's what I'm going to pick. I don't even have to worry about anybody else, and I'll just be in the room dealing with my 164 jets for like an hour. So we both pick our thing. She gets like a normal massage. And this guy about my age, he's like, okay, sir, come on back here. And takes me to this room. And it's like this kind of dimly lit, sort of almost like I remember the lights being real low. And I look over there, and there's this tub with a bajillion jets. It's just jets everywhere. And I'm
That's
like,
going to
all
feel
right.
nice.
And so me, being a young guy, I hadn't really thought this through, but I was in a robe, kind of like this here.
Yeah.
And nothing underneath, because I was like,
That's
I'm just going to
awesome.
be hanging out in this tub by myself. So just you don't wear clothes in there, right?
Use your words carefully.
So I'm like, get in there. I'm like, okay, cool. And the guy's like, okay, well, I'll hop in there, and I'll be back in a minute. I was like, okay. I'm not sure why he's going to be back in a minute. Maybe he's going to bring me a drink or something. So he takes off. I pop off the robe. I hop in this thing, and I get in, and I'm feeling good, right? The bubbles are going. So there's a little knock at the door. Yeah, come on in. Guy comes in. He doesn't have a drink in his hand. He comes and he grabs this wand that's attached to the side of the hot tub thing. And I go, what is that? And he goes, you're enjoying this way too much. He goes, it's the 164th jet. So me as a grown man, I would have been like, hey, bud, just go take a smoke break. I'm just going to sit in here for an hour.
I don't need that extra jet.
The jet, I'm good with the 163. I don't need the 164th. But me as a college kid who was uncomfortable, didn't want to I'm like, I guess this is what you do.
Rules.
So I turn, and then I've got a guy wanding my back as I am butt naked.
You could have just said no. It would have been fine. It'd be like, whew, thank goodness I don't have to wand this dude.
I could have done us both a favor, but I didn't have the confidence to step up.
You
So
didn't
anyway,
know.
after the fact, I come out. My girlfriend is all like loosey goosey, feeling great, and me, I'm like, I'm like, let's get out of here. She's like, what happened? I was like, that was not what I thought it was supposed to be. So that was
You don't want to know that
the
story.
worst date. It still worked out. Still worked out. The date was great, but it wasn't a date with my future wife. It was a date with the guy with the wand that really ruined it for me.
You learned a valuable lesson from this. Anytime there's a service offered to you and you don't want it, what are you going to say, Matt?
I'm going to say no. No, sir.
Just
We're
like
not.
that.
We're skipping the wand treatment today, buddy. Just let me sit in here nude by myself in this dimly lit room.
That sounds like a terrible experience.
I
because you're
can't
so
believe
vulnerable.
anybody would
You're
want
so
that.
vulnerable.
I can't believe
People
somebody would
want it.
order that on a menu
It's on the
knowing.
menu. Well, he probably couldn't believe that you ordered it.
I know.
He's like, no one ever
He
orders
was
this.
like, he
This
was like
laundry.
probably picturing, a lady orders this, like, not some big hairy college guy.
Oh my God.
So
But I feel like that taught you a valuable lesson, and you're a better man for it.
I'm definitely not a better man for it, but it taught me a lesson. Speak up for yourself, kid. Okay, so that was the worst dates. Coming up after the break, we're going to tell you about the best dates you can do in Central Florida.
So much better.
Don't do what we did. No.
No. Okay, so now that we have relived some of our worst moments, we want to help you do better. Not like us. We want to help you have really good date night experiences because Matt's story was a doozy. Mine was, well, it was mine.
Danny Meyering, she is with Orlando Date Night Guide. You can check them out
Help,
at
help.
orlandodatenightguide.com, and she has tons of good ideas for us as we're gearing up for Valentine's Day. And so those of us who are romantically challenged, we are calling in for some reinforcements. Danny, thank you so much for joining us here on Florida's Fourth Estate. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, and the dating scene has changed so much since Matt was a single man. Matt, how long have you been married? 19, 20 years now?
This
40,
will be my
40.
19th year.
Okay,
Wow.
that's crazy. And I'm going on 12. And so it's changed so much since either of us are single. So, but you have some fantastic things that people are getting into now. Just help us out a little bit if there are people who are thinking about, okay, I want to take someone out on Valentine's Day, which is a tough day, by the way.
With Valentine's Day being on a Tuesday this year, you've got another double whammy headed your way with things kind of being a little bit difficult during a weekday. But there are plenty of different events. There's different dinners. There's horse-drawn carriage rides. There's special movie events. So we've got lots of great ideas that we can share. And the most important advice I can give for someone who's dating is truly to be yourself, because you want to connect with someone who likes you for you. So that would be advice number one, is to make sure you are being who you truly are on those dates.
Wow. Well, that's a biggie because, as you know, on social media sites, no one is who they say they are, especially in the world of dating. I always tell my husband, if this doesn't work out, I'm never dating again.
Ginger's joining the nunnery if it doesn't work out.
It's terrifying. So unpack some of those things that you talked about. You said, you talked about carriage rides, just little romantic things. Talk a little bit about some of those things that are actually happening in Central Florida and Florida that people can do.
So one of the first things that's happening is there is a run on Saturday, February 11th. It's the Advent Health Run for Love 4-mile run. So this is a great idea if you are single and maybe you want to meet somebody who's active,
Hmm.
or if you are a couple and you want to, maybe one of your New Year's resolutions is to be a little bit more active as a couple. So this is a great option. And there's also a free family kids run that is free. That's part of this event as well. They're having a costume contest. So maybe you're a little silly and you want to dress up as Cupid. You could certainly do that. They'll have different folks that are kind of watching to see who's in costume, and they have little goodies that they give out both before the race, during the race, and after as well. So that sounds like a lot of fun. If
Mhm.
you're more of a movie person, but you don't want to be in a standard dark theater, Lou Gardens, which is one of our favorite destinations in Orlando, is doing a movie night in the garden. You can bring your own little picnic dinner. You can bring some wine if you want. And the movie that they're showing is As Good as It Gets. So
Oh,
that's on Valentine's Day itself at 7:30. And that's, if you've never been to Lou Gardens, that's a great way to see it. And if you've been before, it's a great way to see it in a different light.
Very
Now, I
cool.
had
Oh,
mentioned,
you have more. Yes.
yeah.
yes, let's keep going. Um, there are horse-drawn carriage rides in Winter Garden, which is absolutely beautiful, a historic downtown area. A lot of folks don't know that they sometimes do horse-drawn carriage rides. Those are provided by Soul Haven Ranch. And another alternative to that is Disney's Port Orleans Resort. If you want to do a little Disney magic on Valentine's Day,
Mm-hmm.
you can book a horse-drawn carriage ride there as well.
You can do one in Disney? I had no idea. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's Port Orleans Resort, and then Fort Wilderness Campground has that option as well. All of those you're going to want to book ahead if you can. Waiting till Valentine's Day to plan
Oh,
something is probably my second piece of advice, is to plan ahead so that you're not caught scrambling.
Yeah, I would
okay.
say that the run one brings me a little caution. I think you need to be careful with that one. Honey, I'm bringing you on a run for Valentine's Day.
That's fair. Yeah,
Feels
you
like you
definitely
need to, I don't know.
Build up to that, maybe. I don't, let's go for a walk. Let's just walk around the block first.
Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, you shouldn't pick a date that's going to, or should you pick a date to put someone out of their comfort zone? Because I feel like, in a way, it kind of shows you who that person is, if they are up for something that they normally wouldn't do, or if they only want to stick within their parameters. Or is that unfair to the person?
I think the key here, we say both in long-term relationships and just dating, is communication, right? So it's really asking and understanding, hey, do you want to try something different and get to know each other that way? Or would you rather stick with something you're more comfortable with? And what's interesting about us as Orlando Date Night Guide, we were started by a husband and wife. And now we are in 15 years of having our site. We continue that philosophy. It's not just about newer couples. It is really about couples that have been together for a long time and are looking for quality time together. And so, to your point, Valentine's Day is a great opportunity to either get to know someone and get them out of their comfort zone, or if you're a couple who has been together a while, that's certainly a way to get the romance going, hopefully, is to do something new together and see each other from a different side.
Oh, I like that idea. I love that it was started by, two people who were already together. Because when you think of date night, you don't think of married people dating, but you should always date your spouse, is what I believe, and come up with something kind of cool. Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my husband and I have a 5-year-old, and so we definitely value our date nights. And sometimes our kiddo has to come along because babysitter woes. So we get creative sometimes
Yeah.
when that has to happen. So that actually leads me into to kind of thinking about something different. One of our other Valentine's Day ideas is Ice Bar Orlando, which is on International Drive, and they have some really cool Valentine's Day packages. They also have a Cupid's solo package. So if you're on your own and you still want to treat yourself to something nice, then you can do that. And they also have some Galentine's Day packages. So these are offered February 10th to 14th. So again, that Tuesday being a little wonky for you,
Mhm.
there are options the weekend before. So February 10th, 11th, 12th, and so forth until Valentine's Day. They have these
You better
cool
bring a,
packages intended.
yeah, you better bring a coat if you go to that ice bar. That place is chilly. Okay, so to be a
No,
part,
wait a minute. Can I just say something, Matt? Because
sure.
see how he missed the point on that whole dating, going to the ice bar thing. You cozy up to the person who took you there. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, are you chilly? And then you go like, that, put your arm around the come on, Matt.
That's
My Lord.
assuming the person wants to cozy up to you, Ginger.
Well, you're on a date
Might be a
already.
bit
I
of a
don't know.
stretch. I don't
I
know.
think Matt's working through some past rejection here.
It's going, who
That's
hurt
my
you,
life.
Matt?
I'm
Who
always
hurt you?
working through some past rejection. If you heard the first part of this this podcast, you would know.
I love the Lou Gardens idea, because the nightmare date story that I described earlier involved going to a movie and a guy falling asleep, but it was our first and only date. But
Ooh,
yeah, I know
yeah.
it's probably me though. It's probably me.
Don't fall asleep on Ginger at a date. She will just straight up ghost you and walk out the door. That's what she did to this poor guy.
Well,
He's
You're
probably
looking for connection, and yeah.
he's probably still asleep in that movie theater somewhere. So Danny Meyering, thank you so much. OrlandoDateNightGuide.com is where you can check
Tons
them
of
out.
great
Great
ideas.
ideas. Ginger loves the Lou Gardens. I really like the Winter Garden. Take the horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah, that's good.
Bunch of fantastic stuff that we didn't even talk about that you can go check it out there. Danny, thank you so much.
And thank you for watching Florida's Fourth Estate. You can download it from wherever you listen to podcasts or watch anytime on News 6 Plus.